Alright, what's up folks? Thought I would do a little video here. It's very likely you've seen this spot already, which is fine. It's I think it's been pretty active for maybe a week now or close to it, several days. We're at 51, 138, 139, whatever. And in this spot we're fishing for big-headed carp and wild carp primarily. I'm fishing here during the day because I'm also doing catfish at night. So I feel like wild carp are most active at night. At least that's what I feel like I've been told that, and it seems like that has proven to be true. So let's look at what's on the rods here real quickly because we are going to switch to catfish fairly fast. I guess I can put this back in case we get one more fish on this line. We're clipped at 16. I usually see 16, 17, 18, something like that in this spot in terms of clips. But we're going to go in reverse order. So this is the small setup. Double pellets on all three. But you'll see we've got the large pellets on the other two. This one's actually got 18s. And good news on this, here's the PVA. I don't know who to credit this PVA to because I've seen multiple people using it on Discord with the trophy section. But it seems to work pretty well. Although I'll tell you, this spot also works really well without PVA. I started off with no PVA on this line, and then I was trying an older sort of krill-based PVA on the other lines, and they were actually slower than the one without PVA because it just wasn't the right PVA. Now that I've got this PVA on here, all three lines have been much better. Well, we already got another fish on that line. All right, it's getting a little later, so I won't cast this back out again. And then if we happen to catch another fish while it's getting to be nighttime, wild carp will start showing up a little bit more. Because of the catfish, I've really not gotten that much time in this spot. Between the catfish and also I've been just like figuring out what baits and PVA and stuff I want to use. But you can see even in just limited time, we've had, some big heads and wild carp. And since we are primarily focused on trying to get into the catfish a little bit at night, to have such a potentially good spot here during the day has been really fun. And I actually don't know where I want to go for catfish. But let's look at these two lines first. So this is the sort of typical setup, I would think. Large one hook, large pellets. See, these are 25 size pellets. Still the spicy halibut dip. So everything else here is the same. It's just a change in the size pellets. And then I guess it was Philippe. It was somebody had the named one on a 2-0 hook. So this is basically the setup that called a blue tag super trophy named wild carp. I would assume that the 2-0 hook size is going to slow you down. I've caught one fish so far on this setup, but really I haven't been running it exactly like this until here recently. But this spot's been really active for folks. It's been a really good farm for silver. And obviously plenty of trophies have been coming out here. So let's see what we have here on the large one hooks. Looks like a smaller wild carp most likely. I haven't seen any fish come out other than the wild carp and the big head. So, I mean, in that sense, you know what you're going to get. Until you get into the really large sizes, one disadvantage to me for wild carp has always just been like kind of like grass carp. I feel like pound for pound, and I haven't actually done the math on this. This is just the impression I get. But pound for pound, I feel like they're not quite as valuable a fish. But it's so active a spot, and with the big heads mixed in too, honestly, just like making more silver during the day on some like legitimate carp while I'm catfishing at night has been terrific. So I'm still trying to decide where I want to go for catfish. Maybe I just show you the spot that I've been using. The only problem is the spot that I've been using, it's been active, but it hasn't been anything big. Let's take a chance. Let's go to the other spot. So a little confusing here, but I've been drifting over in the 15-meter hole down to the 11. And like I said, that's been active, but they've been smaller. In recent days, the most active spot seems to be like through here. I think people call this factory, right? You've got the deeper hole there and just this whole 9mm. So let's go drift that. I think what a lot of folks are doing also is casting. So maybe we'll see if we catch a fish or two drifting, and then we'll go up and cast a little bit. Let's turn our engine sound down a little bit. And let's look on the weeklies. I'm just curious if... Are we still getting primarily... Yeah, see, it's changing. The Tiny Fish 04 is slowly taking over. That's going to be like competing now with the huge minnow. And I didn't know that for sure. I hadn't checked the weeklies, but I had seen on Discord someone had I think it was on Discord, a trophy cat on the Tiny Fish, the larger of the Tiny Fish size. So I had already switched one of my rods to that. So we've kind of got both of those baits represented now. Lures represented. So let's just get out here and do a little drifting. Kind of see how it goes. And I really have a decision to make on what I'm going to spend my silver on next. Between amber and then what we're doing here on tuba, and then also we're still making decent money at the new. Let's just go straight west now. Let's just kind of drift through here. I don't really know, like when I see people catching cats over here, or when I hear about it, it seems like mostly folks are actually casting. So I don't know that drifting is going to do a lot for us, but let's just give it a try. We don't want to drift with carp rods, I'll tell you that. And I just go ahead and put the friction brake on 29 or 28. Put it out there a little bit, but not too far. Get that thing drifting right out over the hole. Still using the 3.0 jig hooks that folks have been using. I think a lot of the folks that have been doing this for a longer period of time are using the stronger braid. I think it goes up to about 100 kilos, especially if they have the real big setups. I want to make sure I didn't forget and still have a leader on there from something else, but the hook strength limits you, so I'm not sure that it's worth having that, even if you do have the rod and reel capability to carry the 100 kilo line. And then on my third, I mean, you could drift something else like a little, you know, a wacky, which it doesn't work great here for me at night. You could drift a lure and occasionally try to catch an asp or something like that. Let's see what the tip's gonna look like here, so I'll just be able to see it. Okay. All right, we're already getting a fish over here. Something small. Over in the other spot I was showing you, one nice thing is I was getting the zander. Oh yeah, I still have in my net. I can show you the zander size we've been picking up, which has been kind of a benefit, a plus. So some pretty decent sized zander, two of them right in a row actually. And I think that was on the Tiny Fish. but I'm not sure on that. I may be wrong. We can look. Nope. Huge minnow. Huge minnow. Both of them the opposite of what I said. So I'm not sure if this will work over here, but over in the other spot, even at night at about 2 meters, I was occasionally catching pretty decent herring and black spine. So let's see if they're biting over here at all. And then we'll just have to keep checking the cat lines. If we get a big one, of course, we'll hear it running. Does that look the same, or do we have like a river mussel or something on there? I think it's the same. Especially if you start this a little earlier in the night, I feel like you're gonna have a little bit more bite activity on the float early. Alright, yeah, it seems like the tiny fish is starting to really pick up. So we're going to go and lock it up. As long as it's not too big, we'll be able to pull it right in. If it's a little larger, we may have to anchor down and take it a little bit easier. And if it's a personal best, then I don't know what we'll have to do. We'll have to play with it and see if we can't figure it out. Definitely want to be standing. I'm going to go ahead and stand up and take the friction brake down a little bit before we continue. There she is. Not bad. Already a little bit It really pulled us off course, didn't it? I feel like it's already a little bigger over here. Alright, what do we want to do in terms of... I kind of wanted it to be more at the top of the square, I guess. Alright, let's just sit here. So it's interesting to see the catfish lure kind of changing right before our eyes. The tiny fish has certainly been a little more active for me in this short amount of time. I would say over on the other side, it felt like they were about even bite rate, but over here, and when I say other side again, in the last couple nights I was drifting this spot over here. And it could just be RNG on hitting a big one over there. I mean, just because I got several smaller ones doesn't necessarily mean Yeah, and for whatever reason over here, we're just not getting the float bites, are we? So, where are we on the map? I think this is a good time to... Let's cast this one first. Go down to 45. Yeah, I just want to, I don't know. Just like right through there. Cast it way out there. We'll bring it right back to us. Oh, I have a clip on, don't I? That's weird. Let's take that clip off, I guess. Oh, shoot. We're not going to be able to get till the boat settles. Let's go ahead and pull this one in too so that we can switch over and cast it if we want to. Alright, no clip. The boat has pretty much settled, and we want to go like right in here. And usually if we do the double rotation at this speed, even with the current, we can get a jig step pretty quick. I'm trying to cast right back over that area where we caught the cats drifting. Let's put the tiny fish on this one. Because I feel like I'm pretty dialed in on getting the... Didn't I get an extra one? Yeah. I feel like I'm pretty dialed in on getting the jig step on this rig. So let's see if it's the same on this lure. Sometimes the different lure is a little different. Yep, there it is. Now we'll have to try the casting rig. Remember, the only difference in these two is one's a casting setup and one's a spinning setup. I will occasionally catch cats out here casting like this, but I still overall do much better. Let's just go to the same spot just to see if we can get anything here. This may just not be the right place to cast. I'm not sure. But I tend to catch more cats still doing the drifting than the casting, although I have started to occasionally get them when I'm casting as well. Yeah, I'm not getting jig step on this. I don't know if it's a speed thing. It's just totally different when going from spinning to casting. So I'm just gonna have to figure it out. I'm not sure. but it sure isn't working. I know a lot of folks use the rocket jet. I mean, there's a, I don't know what, this is a steelness. And with this lure, I feel like for whatever reason, on the other lure, I was getting jig step with the casting setup. So I'm just not sure. But I don't think we're going to catch anything without getting jig step, or we're a lot less likely. So let's, as the sun's coming up here, you can still definitely still catch some cats later into the morning. So let's just go up a little bit and drift a little bit more. This way we will potentially end up drifting right into the larger hole as well. Really casting those a little further than I really intend to. And we'll do a little float test again. Now that the sun's come up, maybe they'll start biting again. But again, just sort of anything, especially if you have a slower night with cats, anything to... We only had one, really. Anything to increase your silver just a little bit can be nice. So not as good a night, cats. Again, I've just got to keep working on it. Oh, there's something. I'm, oh yeah, we have the same lure on both now, don't we? And I guess once you have one on, this probably messes up your drift a little bit, just the weight of the catfish pulling it in. But if you don't cast it as far as I did on this one, then you don't have as far to bring it back in. This is a smaller guy, I think. I mean, it's strong enough that it was pulling at 28 friction, but doesn't necessarily mean it's that big overall. Not bad. That'll help. The second one that size. Still nothing from this guy over here, huh? Alright. But it's kind of cool. I mean, all the fish we're catching between these two spots are pretty meaningful fish. Not all of them. A lot of them are. And it's fun. It's fun for me, at least, trying to figure out the cats. So during the day, to have something to make a little bit of silver, something I'm a little more familiar with the carp fishing, has been a nice combo. Carp and cats at Akhtuba. I wonder if I lowered the friction brake back down. It's a good way to get in trouble. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I did. So Sitchel's over here. It's really nice when you're on a spot, which maybe I'll try drifting on that other side the next night, but it's nice when you're on a spot where you're catching not just Sitchels. Cichals aren't worth near as much. All right, let's see what this feels like. This feels like we might have something a little larger. Maybe a little bit more than 20 this time. It's large enough that if we drop the friction brake down, it does just start taking line immediately. And we are reeling very slowly. But this has actually been cool to see. We've had some pretty active catfish here, and at least where we're drifting right now, even well past daylight. I think till 9 or 10 you can still get some decent activity. I think this will be the largest of the day. So, what I was talking about earlier, my decision to spin silver. There's 3 things I'm thinking about. One would be getting a 3rd catfish set up so that we can drift 3. Two would be getting a 3rd carp rod, because that would replace our Fortuna carp rod. We've got 2 nicer carp rods and 1 Fortuna. Or 3 would be just to sort of save for now, in case I want to experiment with one of the, and it'd be a long save, but eventually get one of the conventional reels. Which really I'm probably least likely to go with 3, to be perfectly honest, but that is a possibility, I guess. $36, that's getting into a much healthier size. Little burbot. You do see a lot of those when you're jigging. Alright, so let's go see, before we wrap it up, let's just kind of see what kind of silver we're putting together, to give you an idea. And I don't feel like I've, especially with the carp spot, I mean, I just now am sort of getting to an efficient level on finding the sort of bait approach with the PVA and everything that I want. And that spot would be worth doing 24/7. I mean, you're going to have your best, I think, your best activity at night. And so the only reason why I'm going over to cats is just because that's what's, I mean, I'm just wanting to have fun with cats right now. So, all right, so we do have that, cafe order, which will help. So total silver, we're at 595. We are certainly not breaking any records. That one catfish, 83. Big heads, again, once they get a little larger, add up. Same with the wild carp. I I just feel like, the smaller wild carp, unless you got like in that spot with the PVA and everything, we might be producing enough higher percentage of larger ones that it is going to start to add up as we get more efficient. But like, look at this little 90-gram black spined herring. I mean, that's worth more than these wild carps, this burbot. I mean, those are pretty small, but the black spined herrings are just awesome. Kesslers can add up as well, but those black spined especially. So that was one benefit to being out there on that hole over there. So let me grab this cafe order before I forget. We'll do the 87, 34 silver for that. It's not bad. Okay, so anyway, thanks for watching, and let me know if you're doing some of these spots here at Akhtuba. It's a really cool time in the game right now. There's just so many places where you can make decent silver and XP, but more importantly, just have a lot of fun. I'm just having a lot of fun fishing these days. Between carpet, amber, switching it up here at Akhtuba, and then also the New River, of course, has just been a blast. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Later.